It's not fair. It's not fair at all to her, to me, to her son, to her brothers and her sisters. It's not fair to anybody, to her friends. It's not fair. She was 21 years old. 21. Like she...
Glendale police have arrested a man who they say met a woman online, social media, went on a date with her, and then murdered her.
A 21-year-old Arizona mother matched with a man on social media. On the 5th of July, she drove out to meet him in person for the very first time. They went to a movie. She never came home. What investigators would only piece together 6 days later was that before that date had even started, he had already visited the spot where he would bury her. Welcome to Crime Cipher. We decode the cases the headlines summarize and the truth the system leaves behind. Subscribe if you are new here, because tonight we are telling you the story of a young mother who thought she was going on a first date and the man who had already dug her grave before he ever pulled up to pick her up. Her name was Arianna Bailey Jones. She was 21 years old. She had been adopted at 3, moved between homes throughout her childhood, and at 18 she had been reunited with her biological mother, Sophia Sardinas. The two of them had been rebuilding a relationship in the 3 years since. Arianna was already a mother herself. She had a 2-year-old son. Her mother, Sophia, would later tell reporters what her daughter's biggest dream in life had been. In Sophia's own words, quote, "She wanted to have a family. That's all she wanted." Arianna was doing it. She had her son. She had her mother. She was working on the rest. At home in Glendale, Arizona, Arianna also had a dog. I want you to hold on to that detail, because it is going to matter enormously in a few minutes. That is who Arianna Bailey Jones was on the 5th of July, 2026. A 21-year-old mother, a reunited daughter, and a woman getting ready for a date she thought was the start of something. The man Arianna was going to meet that night was Domonic Rodolico, 24 years old. He lived about 20 minutes north of Arianna, in Peoria, Arizona. And according to the Glendale Police Department, the two of them had met on social media. They exchanged a few brief phone calls and eventually agreed to meet in person for the first time. That first meeting was scheduled for Saturday, the 5th of July. A friend of Arianna's would later tell police that Arianna had said they planned to go to a movie together that afternoon. A Harkins Theater, a public place in the middle of the day. The kind of setting a young woman chooses when she is meeting somebody new and wants a safe first impression. But while Arianna was getting ready for that movie, Domonic Rodolico was not preparing for a first date at all. He was preparing for something else entirely. According to court documents released by the Glendale Police Department, Domonic Rodolico had already been to the desert earlier that same day, before he ever picked Arianna up. Detectives, in reconstructing his movements, were able to place him at a specific remote location north of the Phoenix metropolitan area, near a place called Lake Pleasant, hours before he ever pulled up to Arianna's apartment. That location was the same location where, 6 days later, cadaver dogs would find her body. He had visited the site of the grave before the date started, and it did not stop there. According to Glendale police, investigators also determined that Rodolico had purchased supplies in advance. Supplies that would later be used to bury Arianna's body, bought before he ever met her in person. Public Information Officer Jose Santiago put it in the plainest terms. Investigators believe the crime was planned. The suspect had visited the same spot where Arianna would later be found earlier in the day and had purchased the supplies used to bury her body. That is why the charge in this case is not just first-degree murder. It is first-degree premeditated murder. And in Arizona, that charge carries the possibility of the death penalty. Sometime that afternoon, Rodolico arrived at Arianna's apartment and the two of them left together. Investigators would later reconstruct their movements from surveillance video, cell phone tracking, and vehicle location data. What that evidence shows is exactly what Arianna had told her friend was going to happen. The two of them went to a movie at a Harkins Theater, but after the movie, they did not go anywhere else public. They did not go to a restaurant. They did not go back to Arianna's apartment where her dog was waiting. Instead, Rodolico drove out to that same remote desert area near Lake Pleasant, the place he had already been to that morning. Whether Arianna had any idea where they were going, or whether it was framed as a scenic detour after the movie, has not been publicly confirmed. At some point, in that remote desert area, Arianna Bailey Jones was killed. The exact cause of death has not been publicly released, pending results from the Maricopa County Medical Examiner's Office. Rodolico himself would later tell detectives that Arianna was stabbed, though we cannot rely on his account, because his account would change multiple times. What is confirmed is that Arianna Arianna died in that desert, and her body was placed in a shallow grave in the same ground Rodolico had walked earlier that morning. Rodolico drove back alone. He did not call the police. He did not report Arianna missing. He simply left the desert. On Tuesday, the 7th of July, Arianna's family had not heard from her in 2 days. A relative called Glendale police to report her missing. Officers went to her apartment. Inside, they found her dog, still in the kennel. No food, no water, alone for 2 days. That dog told the officers everything they needed to know about whether Arianna had planned to be gone. She had not. From that moment, Glendale detectives moved fast. They spoke with the friend Arianna had told about the movie date. They pulled cell phone records, surveillance footage from the Harkins Theater, and vehicle movements. Step by step, the picture of Arianna's last day filled in. The pickup, the theater, the drive to the desert, and the last place her phone had pinged before it went silent, a remote area near Lake Pleasant. By Saturday, the 11th of July, less than 4 days after Arianna was reported missing, Glendale detectives, working with the Special Investigations Unit and the United States Marshals Task Force, had narrowed the search to that stretch of desert. They brought in cadaver dogs, and on that Saturday, in a secluded desert area north of Phoenix, the dogs found a shallow grave, human remains, clothing, and physical evidence that matched Arianna. Even a drink cup from the movie theater, near the site. The formal identification is pending the medical examiner, but Glendale police announced publicly that they believe the remains are Arianna Bailey Jones. That same day, Domonic Rodolico was arrested. When officers moved on him, he was in the process of cleaning the back of his car. He also had an injury to his hand. In interviews with detectives, Rodolico denied killing Arianna, but his story kept changing. His first version was that the two of them had been in the desert together and had been jumped by 2 unknown men who stabbed Arianna. In another version, he had somehow escaped while Arianna stayed behind. He told detectives Arianna was, in his words, probably not alive after this alleged attack, but he never called 911, never reported it to police, and never told anyone. Public Information Officer Jose Santiago summed it up in one sentence. His story continuously changed, Santiago said. The attack became a little bit more dramatic, less dramatic, and investigators had already piled up the evidence against every version of it. Surveillance video, cell phone data, vehicle tracking, the hand injury, the car he was cleaning when they arrested him, the premeditated visits to the burial site, the supplies he had purchased before the date even started. Rodolico is now being held on a $2 million cash-only bond, and he is facing a first-degree premeditated murder charge. Rodolico, it also turned out, was already on probation at the time he met Arianna. Less than a year earlier, in May of 2025, he had been arrested for impersonating employees at 2 Valley Quick Trip gas stations and stealing from the registers. He had been sentenced to 2 years of probation for that. He was still serving that probation on the day he picked Arianna up. In the middle of all of this is Sofia Sardinas, a mother who had only found her daughter again at 18, who had watched Arianna become a mother herself, and who was now watching her daughter be buried at 21. Sofia told reporters, in words that speak for themselves, "It's not fair. It's not fair at all to her, to me, to her son, to her brothers and her sisters. It's not fair to anybody, to her friends. It's not fair." She was 21 years old. 21. Sofia also said this.
It's not fair. It's not fair at all to her, to me, to her son, to her brothers and her sisters. It's not fair to anybody, to her friends. It's not fair. She was 21 years old. 21. Like she...
I love my daughter. I love her with all my heart and all my soul. And I'm so sorry that this happened to her, because this was not supposed to happen to her. And she said one more thing that has stayed with anyone who has read it. She said she believes her daughter fought. In her words, she would not just let somebody do that to her and not fight back to get to her son. Arianna Bailey Jones was 21 years old, a mother, a reunited daughter, a woman who wanted, more than anything else, a family. She matched with a stranger on social media, went to a movie in the middle of a Saturday afternoon, and never came home. If you want to follow this case with us, subscribe to Crime Cipher and turn on notifications, because when there is a court date, a plea, or a verdict, we will be right here. Leave a comment with Sofia and Arianna's little boy in your thoughts. Share this video so that Arianna Bailey Jones is remembered as more than a headline. And we will see you on the next case.